What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Early Edge. A very happy and positive Monday to everyone. I see the chat has already lit up. Japan noting that he paid the showdown that we had last week immediately, and he really did. Props to him. Let's take a look at, speaking of bets, let's take a look at how we did on Saturday. Don't forget, we've got Saturday shows now. 5-5, not great, but look at Tom Casale, 2-0 again. I mean, this guy's absolutely on fire. And by the way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, collectively as a show, 15-7 and 1, I believe. So, hitting 2 out of 3 over the last 3 shows. That's kind of where we want to be. And where I want to be right now is on the Early Edge on a Monday morning, because we've got the stars of the show. You know how it is on a Monday. We got Propstarz. We got the Maestro, and Buckets is back with us. I got to go to Buckets first. Buckets, how you feeling today? How's everything going?
Sia, things are going okay. I appreciate everybody keeping me in their thoughts and prayers over the weekend. The doctor told me that I have to remove all unnecessary stress from my life. So I think what that means is I can no longer be hitting my tickets in the 90th minute of stoppage time. We need to hit these bets in the first half for my own personal health. So that's the plan moving forward.
And we're going to hear these bets on the front end of the show. But before we do that, Maestro, I want to go to you real quick. And Proppy, hello, how are you? Is that Goose, by the way? Is that Goose front and center?
Goose is here. Buckets talked about reducing his stress level. No better stress reducer than petting a cat. And the purring of a cat, I might add, has been scientifically proven to reduce stress. So I'd strongly recommend Buckets looking into getting a furry friend.
Maybe Freya needs a furry friend, Buckets. What do you think?
I'm on Pet Finder as we speak during the show, so bear with me while I find my own little goose here.
Go. Proppy, great advice. Maestro, let me ask you this. Before we're going to jump right into our picks. We got soccer, by the way. We've got NBA props. Of course, Proppy's here. We got college basketball, some bigger conference games, some smaller conference games. We got some SportsLine picks, including an NHL pick. So stay tuned for that. But I got to ask you, Larry, as an attorney, for those of you that don't know, by the way, hit the like button for the cat comment. I absolutely love that. And for Goose being front and center at the very beginning of the show, please hit the like button. Maestro, I practice law. Most people in the chat know this. You certainly know it. For 13 years as a trial and attorney. So I am very big on just mitigating or trying to minimize danger when it comes to pretty much anything. And when I saw the court storming at Wake Forest with Duke and Filipowski appearing to get injured on that play, it's not the first time stuff like that has happened. I wonder, do you have an opinion on this? Because there's so many opinions on both sides of the court, if you will.
I cannot even see the other side on this one. Sia, when you have a high school player gets partially paralyzed, that was 20 years ago in Arizona, and we're still doing this every time. And we're doing it in games where Wake Forest was favored in the game. They were favored by 3 points. They won by 4. Why are you storming the court and putting players at risk? The thing that I really hate, and I understand the exuberance, and I love sports more than anyone that I know of, the thing that I can't get over is the school saying, well, there's nothing we can do. The kids are going to storm the court. Even if we put more staff, they're going to take it as a challenge. They're going to overrun the staff. It's going to turn into an even worse situation. No, there's an easy way to stop it. You're banned from the tournament. You're banned from your conference tournament if you storm the court or you forfeit the game. There are so many easy ways to stop it. It is so unnecessary. There's got to be another way to celebrate. And I hope Kyle Filipowski is okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can find the students. We have film everywhere, right? We have video where you can find the students. You can discipline them. You can even suspend them, whatever the case may be. You can't let the student body run the organization or run how things are conducted at the games. I absolutely agree. And for those of you that think we're the fun police, I can guarantee you there's going to be lawsuits that are born, not necessarily from this incident, but a lot of these incidents, because it's not just players getting injured necessarily, and the school is on the hook for some of these lawsuits. And as an attorney, that's the last thing I'd want. So I'd be minimizing that in a big way. Buckets, go ahead.
I just want to say that this kind of fan interference is not new in the European soccer world, and we have seen Europe have success, but unfortunately, they're doing something similar as Larry's talked about. They're banning fans from the stadiums altogether. They say, hey, if you want to throw flares at the players, if you want to throw whatever you're throwing on the pitch, we're just going to say no fans for the next 3 games. Good luck. And that has been having some effect over there in Europe. I'm not sure how easy that would be to incorporate in the U.S., but yeah, no place for, risking players' lives like that.
Yeah, I think it would be easier here than in Europe, to be honest with you, or at least as easy. All right, Buckets. Thanks for chiming in there. You're right back on the mic here because we've got a couple of soccer picks. Speaking of the pitch that you've got, and I am going to really have to brush up on my pronunciations. Buckets, you've got the floor.
All right, Sia, I am coming back with a vengeance here because not only do I need a nice little 2-0 day, but I have some medical bills that some winners would definitely help with moving forward. And we're going to be starting in the Portuguese Premier League, where we have a really, really fun and good matchup between Boa Vista Football Club and SC Braga. And I'm taking the classic here of both teams to score at -130. Braga is the better team, but Braga is exhausted right now. They just had to go through a brutal 2-leg tie against Karabag in Europa League. And right now they are on tired legs. They need to rest, but they can't rest because they're playing a Boa Vista side that when they play at home, this is a very formidable club. They drew 1-1 against Porto. They scored against Vitória SC. Boa Vista at home is way better than Boa Vista at the road. So I love both teams to score in this first matchup. And then we're going to the Danish Superliga this afternoon as FC Copenhagen will be hosting FC Nordsjælland. And this is a game to where I really don't want to overthink this. When you see Copenhagen playing or you see Nordsjælland playing, all you got to do is bet on goals, and that is how you cash on these teams. Over 2.5 goals at -130 right now. A little bit of juice, but Copenhagen is on their revenge tour after getting smacked by Man City 3-1 in Champions League. And Nordsjælland is a team that in the last five head-to-head against Copenhagen, both teams to score, and over 2.5 has hit in all 5 of those matches. Just going to take the over 2.5 and looking for a 2-0 party at the pay window here, Sia.
All right, Bradley Jacobs says, looks like Buckets and I are on the same page. We always like that. Bradley Jacobs, Chris Kish, Japan, so many that are putting picks in here every single day, and we encourage all of it. I see you, Gipper's picks. Everybody, thank you for being in here. Mark Buckholtz, David Talk. Mark Buckholtz certainly had a lot to say about the court storming stuff, so scroll up for that because we love everybody's opinion. Big Cheesy, Proppy with the mustache, he says. Now, Proppy, I've been encouraging you to let the hair down with the mustache. Can we see that at some point in the next week or so?
The next time I go a minimum of, let's say, 3-0, the hair will be down. Braids might come out. We don't know. See it. We'll get crazy with it though.
You all don't know what you're missing. Alex Selesnik, otherwise known as Propstarz, otherwise known as Little Geppetto. For those of you that are new to the show, you're missing out there. This man looks exactly like Aquaman when the hair is down, mustache or no mustache. So you're definitely going to want to see that. I can't wait for the next 3-0 day. It's probably today. By the way, if you want to take Proppy's bets or Buckets bets or Maestro's bets, new BetMGM customers can sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $5 and you will receive $150 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE150. That's EDGE150. By the way, when I hear Boa Vista, I think, for all you old school sitcom fans, I think of Del Boca Vista. Larry, I saw you kind of like casually nodding your head. Yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind.
You dropped an Entourage reference, which is my all-time favorite show, and then you throw in Del Boca Vista, so it's a great day. See ya.
It's a great day. By the way, in the chat, better show, Frasier or Seinfeld? Put your answer in the chat. And we got to get to my pick, by the way. I'm going right to college basketball, but before I do, let's hear a message from our partners.
The madness doesn't just happen.
Yo, get ready!
And although it's marked on our calendars each year, it's built by moments of mayhem before.
And the crowd goes crazy!
And it begins to bubble long before it bursts. Sure, madness and March may go hand in hand, but it starts right here.
Well, hopefully I have a college basketball winner for you right now, but I do want to say this. David Talk says, Sia, thanks for the golf winners. Now, my tournament selections weren't great. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. My round matchups, typically they're good. I came out on top there, but I do want to shout out Patrick McDonald from the early wedge. Everybody knows it's me, EC. It's Patrick McDonald every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So keep in mind, like that time frame. I want you to have your notifications on, but that is a really great show. And it's not because of my picks necessarily. Sometimes my picks are great. Sometimes they're a little flat like they were this week. Patrick McDonald did have Jake Knapp as a winner in this tournament at 50-1. I had him as a first round leader. I wish I also had him on that outright card. I almost did. But long story short, Patrick McDonald's been all over these winners. I mean, he's been so close, and he finally struck gold with Jake Knapp. So don't forget, tomorrow at 7 o'clock, the early wedge. It's for the Cognizant Classic. It used to be the Honda Classic, so check that out. It's going to be a great show. Okay, for Monday night, I'm going to TCU minus 2.5. Baylor is a very good team, okay? And Baylor's on the road at TCU. You could make the argument that Baylor's the better team, certainly offensively. But I really like how TCU has been playing. And if you look at their metrics, offensive and defensive efficiency, they're inside the top 40 in both. And while Baylor outclasses them offensively, defensively, they leave a lot on the table. And I think on the road, that's going to be a problem. TCU has won 3 out of 4. The game they lost was against Texas Tech at Texas Tech, a very tough matchup. They were winning that entire game. In fact, I kind of thought they were dominating that game in a sense, and they were up like 6-7 points the entire game. They let it slip away at the very end of the game. I think that had a lot to do with home court advantage, and TCU in this case has home court advantage. I understand Baylor played Houston toe-to-toe and was very tough. Baylor coming off 2 losses in a row. I'm sure they're hungry for a win, but at TCU, I love Jamie Dixon. I love how he coaches this team. He put something out on Twitter yesterday saying, hey, everybody, make sure you pack the house, make sure you get loud. This is a very important nationally televised game for TCU, and I think they eventually, over the course of 40 minutes, cover this spread minus 2.5. That is my college hoops pick. We have a couple more coming up, but before we get to those, we got to get to Propstars. We got to get to a prop, and Proppy, you are going again to the NBA, and you're going to Nick Claxton. Talk to us about it.
I live in these NBA streets, Sia. It was a rough weekend at Propstarz HQ. We are going to bounce back starting today. This is the only pick that I have out. Likely going to be a quiet day as far as my picks are concerned. Probably a maximum of 2 or 3. But yeah, we're starting with Nick Claxton. Sia, we're going to go under 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm not sure why this line is inflated at 25.5 when Nick Claxton averages approximately 24 points, rebounds, and assists for the Brooklyn Nets. Playing the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. This game has a minuscule total, 217 points. Both of these teams play so. The Grizzlies, despite being decimated by injuries, we know they're basically missing 3/4 of their team and 4 of their 5 starters heading into the season. They're still a good team defensively, and they slow things down, and they play a pretty ugly style of basketball that's frankly conducive to hitting unders. And one area they're still good at is they defend the interior well. They still have the reigning defensive player of the year as the anchor of their defense. I'm talking about Jaren Jackson Jr. He's going to be tasked with slowing Nick Claxton down. Nick Claxton also just hasn't been playing good basketball recently, frankly. He's failed to score in double figures in 4 of his last 7 games. I just don't understand, again, why this total is 25.5. It should be 22.5, 23.5 at most. So certainly some value on the under here. Fading Nick Claxton. I think he's going to have a hard time against Jaren Jackson and this Memphis Grizzlies interior defense.
All right. Absolutely love that play. And by the way, love David Talk's comment. He says, I was a guest speaker at a retirement during the last early wedge. However, I stuck my phone under the podium and did not miss the show. David, I hope you took, I know we don't necessarily take every single pick on all of these shows with 3 different cappers. I really do hope you invested something in Jake Knapp, whether it was in DFS or otherwise. I had him in DFS too, and that really helped me. So I love that comment, David. Really appreciate you speaking up in that regard. All right, we got to get to our SportsLine picks. We got to get to Larry's college basketball pick. Before we do that, one more quick message from our partners.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
All right, and now it's time for our site picks. Again, you can go to SportsLine, sportsline.com/join and get 60% off the annual plan. If you haven't already done it, I really don't know what you're doing. I know everybody in the chat can speak to how valuable that subscription is, not just for picks, but for the data behind the picks, for the DFS plays, things of that nature. All right, let's start with college basketball. We're going Delaware minus 1.5. This is a thick 6:30 start. Drexel at Delaware, and we've got Delaware minus 1.5 at minus 120. Next, we're going to hockey. We're going to the Islanders. We're going to the Stars under 6.5, minus 130. That one's from Matt Severance. The college basketball pick is from Bruce Marshall. The hockey pick is at 8 o'clock. And again, the Bruce Marshall pick, that Delaware pick, that one starts at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. So keep an eye out for that. And Larry, before we go to your actual official pick, I know you had something to say about this Delaware pick. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I'm also looking at Delaware. Drexel's leading scorer and assist man, Justin Moore, not to be confused with the Villanova guard. This is a sophomore guard. He leads the team in scoring and assists. He did not play Thursday when they lost at Hofstra. That was their 5th straight road loss. So they've been terrible on the road. He's expected to play. It was the flu, a fairly quick turnaround from Thursday to Monday. Nothing official yet, but I'm going to be waiting for his status.
All right. Absolutely love that. Waiting for the status. And when we figure that out, maybe we'll have even more on this game. All right, Larry, you do have a college basketball pick today, so let's hear that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas A&M Corpus Christi, the Islanders. You know, everyone talks about Minnesota and how incredible they've been against the spread. I believe they're 23-4. Well, maybe the number 2 team in the country against the spread is Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 17-5 against the number. They're playing Houston Christian. They destroyed them by 22 at home. And what I love about the matchup is the rebounding. Texas A&M Corpus Christi leads the Southland in rebounding margin over 7 a game, and they crushed them on the boards in the first game, 49-30. I think we'll see something similar here. I laid 12.5. I'm seeing 13s in the market. I would not go over 13 on this one, but Texas A&M Corpus Christi, a very balanced team. They have like 10 guys averaging 5 or 6 points or more. Their leading scorer, a big guy, Gary Clark. This guy dominates inside. He had 18 and 10 in the first meeting, only needed 27 minutes. A very skilled player inside with a lot of good post moves. I'm going to lay it with the Islanders.
Yeah, and if you wanted to get that pick before the show, before any lines potentially move, well, you can do that at SportsLine. And Larry Bremner says, totally worth getting SportsLine annual. The info has already paid off. It's 60% off with the code, and you get 6 months of free Paramount Plus. And no, I don't get a commission. Larry's just a guy who watches and is very active in the chat. Larry, we appreciate that. Again, go to sportsline.com/join, and you get 60% off the annual plan just by typing in the promo code winners. And by the way, speaking of picks and speaking of SportsLine and speaking of data, Amags is in the chat. Amags says, BetMGM, one of the only books, and I guess there's a couple, that I've seen with MLB spring training lines. It's very early, so be careful, but have some fun. And he says, here's a hint, dogs are barking. I just love that we're about to have Amags back. All right. So I don't think we have any other questions or comments in the chat to address. I always want to get to everybody's comments or picks if I can. So if I missed it, I apologize for that. But you all have been so active. Really appreciate all of the involvement. Let's take a look at the recap screen. We got Buckets, Del Boca Vista. No, it's Boa Vista. FC, SC Braga, both teams to score -130. FC Copenhagen, FC Nordsjælland over 2.5. And I've got TCU tonight. This is a 9 o'clock start. Again, national TV. TCU -2.5. Larry Hartstein, Texas A&M Corpus Christi -12.5. Proppy, Nick Claxton under 25.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And we've got 2 SportsLine picks. Delaware -1.5. Islanders Stars under 6.5. Ladies and gentlemen, what a show. Love that Amags is in the chat because it's a nice little prelude to what we're going to have. I'm going to give you all the schedule tomorrow with respect to the MLB Futures episodes. But right at the beginning of March, we're going to have at least 3 MLB Futures episodes within the first 10 days of March to get us kind of warmed up. I'll give you the exact dates and times of those because I know so many people have been asking about that. And for those of you that are asking, well, which sitcom is better? Is it Seinfeld or is it Frasier? Well, the answer obviously is Frasier. So on behalf of Frasier and Niles, on behalf of Jake the Snake, on the 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s, on behalf of Buckets, the Maestro, Proppy, this is the Early Edge. Have a happy Monday, everybody. I am the counselor. We rest our case.